You're not doing your best. You could have scored better. That's not usual for you. What happened? I expected more from you. How many of us have heard at least one of those phrases direct to us? I know many of you can relate to it, or at some point of your life you did. Trying so hard to fit into people's expectations, trying so hard to reach perfection. But let me tell you a thing. The more you try to reach perfection, the farther you are from it. Along the way, we sometimes get lost and lose the true meaning of our hard work. We are blinded by an idea of perfection we will never be or achieve. Hi, I am Laina Cordon. According to Yudo Wang, a professor at the University of Alabama, students to get good grades are more at risk of experiencing low mental health and academic stress. I don't know what you think, but for me, it's a really high price to pay for a mere number on a paper or an opinion someone might have about you. And I tell you this precisely because even myself once was trapped between this endless cycle as well. Studying every single day, getting good results, and that was my life. Plain and simple. From overworking myself too much, consequently, the time where I finally failed came to me due to stress from being in high school after the pandemic years and the beginning of those teen struggles where you don't know who you are or who you want to be. Thankfully, I recovered from it and realized life was much more than just about my grades. But even though some people push themselves to the brink of exhaustion, like I used to do when I was a little girl, many still underestimate all the effort it takes to get there. They think we're some kind of gift children and overlook everything we've done to be in that place. But from my own experience, I can tell you that this is a minefield. And why a minefield, you could ask yourself. It's a minefield because, yeah, you can do well, you can perform perfectly, but if you don't know the right path to follow, you're taking the risk to overwhelm yourself and feeling terrible later. Now, let me ask you a thing. Do you think that it's important to have a balance between your life and your academic life? But more important than that, are people ready to understand that life is not only about success in that areas? Additionally, according to a report of 2019 by the Pew Research Center, 70% of 13 to 17-year-old students surveyed believed anxiety and depression to be a major problem among their peers. And those two problems were exactly what happened to me a few years ago. When I was in 8th grade, I didn't get the result I was expecting to. And the girl took my place as a student of honor for a difference of 0.02 points. When my teacher told me that notice, I felt like a bucket of cold water had been thrown right into my face. There's no other word to describe it. I felt terrible. I felt so terrible that the only thing I could do was to run and lock myself in the school's bathroom. And honestly, I had a panic attack in there. I was there, alone, sitting on the floor, hugging my knees as I cried and trembled. I don't remember how much time I spent there. The only thing I remember is how useless I felt. I felt like I had failed myself. I felt like I didn't deserve anything I had. I felt like I didn't deserve anything I'd achieved in life. And why did all that happen? Because I felt like I couldn't reach expectations people had of me. And the expectations I ended up having due to listening every single day that it was me they were talking about after all. By sharing this experience, I want to make other people see and understand that academic stress can be completely dangerous for your life. And also, I want to emphasize how being good at something since you're a kid can affect the way you perceive yourself. We get used to success, succeed after succeed. And when things don't go as planned, our world might just crumble, making us feel as failures, making us see ourselves as a version we're not. And it makes us feel angry at ourselves for failing. That's why it's so important to learn how to deal with failure and with mistakes since we're kids. Now, returning to my story, I know it might sound insane for some of you that someone so young could stress over something that small. I was 13, turning 14 when that happened to me, by the way. And I get you. Right now, I don't imagine myself stressing over something like that. But at that time, when it happened to me, it was important because I was used to be at the top of my class. And if I couldn't be precisely that, the top of my class, then what else could I possibly be? Alternatively, according to a partnership with Urbis Education, Madonna's University Accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing, ABSN in Detroit, surveyed more than 900 of recent graduates from the ages of 21 to 31 years old. They were asked for their GPAs to see if there was a relation between GPA and their success after graduating. Respondents were asked for their GPAs, their insight into their job search process, and provided their salaries after graduating. Eventually, results showed a positive correlation between GPA and your success after college. That might be the reason why a lot of people tell you that you need to have good grades and perform good academically to get a good job. And there's some truth behind it, because after all, enterprises are looking for responsible people. And one of the best ways to identify responsible people is to look at their GPAs. But I don't think that's the most important thing you need to have to succeed. I think the most important thing you need to have to succeed in life is mental health. By having mental health, you are more aware of your surroundings. You have clearer goals, but the most important thing of all, you're more confident on yourself. And I'm not telling you that by having confidence, you'll have everything on a silver platter, but it would be easier, because by trusting yourself and your abilities, you'll be more aware of what you're doing, and it will be easier for you. So, don't stress yourself. Life's not only about having good grades. It's about having people to share that happiness with along the way. At the end of the journey, people will not remember you for who you were in school, for the grades you used to get. They will remember you for the quality of person you are, for how good you were with them, and for simply being you. And that was the mistake I made. I used to think the only thing I was good at was being an excellent student, and that all my value was in that. But after failing at it, I realized that there was much more in life than just worrying about it. I realized that it wasn't worth it. I realized that I could enjoy small things in life, like staring at the sky, like spending time with my friends, with my family, or even doing the small things I enjoy the most, like playing video games or reading a good book. If I hadn't had this experience, I wouldn't have been able to develop social skills. I wouldn't have been able to be standing here talking to you, and I would have never been able to get so many good things in my life, such as my best friends. Thank you.